Hello everyone, and welcome back to Farming Simulator 19. What are we doing? So, let's see, it's 7:38 in the morning. We have very loud vehicles, so let me turn those bad boys down. We'll do like half the volume maybe. No. I don't like it. Let's try this. That's better. Okay. That should help my ears at least. And we have just planted, it looks like. So we'll get this over here. And we can grow some crops, so we'll speed up time. This might be another mowing, a good day to mow. Of course we need to weed. Fertilize. I think right now we're just kind of paying off our loans a little bit, but I also wouldn't mind getting cows soon as well, just kind of keep the momentum going on our farm, keep the progress happening. But we definitely need to just have money first, and we really don't. Because let's see, we have 110,000, and just to get the cow lot, we would need 100 just for the small one, which would be fine for now. Of course, I also want the cows to be on this land here. I really want this piece of property, and that's going to be... Oh, maybe not. 330. Okay, we'll probably do cows on this number 4 first before we mess with that. Are we good to go? What the heck? Let's try this again. There we go. So let's turn it down a little more so I don't mess this up. And we'll just maybe just take some time and de-weed a little bit. So this week is going to be sort of a light upload week. We're just gonna have one this week. It's just been one of those. So I've had nights with meetings. I also have a couple work projects that are going to be eating up some of my evenings as well, plus maybe some of my weekend. We'll see if I can avoid that, but it'll just depend on how much I get through. So those will be prioritized, and then next week we should be back to just a normal 2 or 3 episode schedule. Let's see. Okay, another exciting news. I am recording this from my newly built PC. The old one was getting around 5 years old, 4.5 to 5 years old. Just starting to feel it, especially in production, like the video post-production stuff. When I would edit and do all that stuff, it was just starting to really bog down and lag a lot. So I thought it was time. Plus I really just wanted to update my video card and didn't want any what do you call it, bottlenecking. So I saved up and decided this was the year to upgrade. So I've talked about it a bit in the past, but basically now I have a 5600X. I heard it was pretty good for what I needed it to do. So I was lucky enough to snag one of those. Like really lucky, I think, based on what I've been seeing. I got 2 NVMe drives because I got an X570 keyboard or a motherboard. So I got a 500 gig boot drive, which would be a what is it, Samsung 970 Plus, and then a terabyte like Sabrent rocket or something, terabyte like secondary drive. And then I kept my old 3 terabyte like hard disk drive just for storage. So nothing fancy there, of course. And that's it. Oh, RAM. What is it? 3600 megahertz. Unfortunately, I got 18 timing, like the 18 CAS timing or whatever. I could have sworn when I bought it, it said 16. But then when I got it, it said 18. I'm fine with it. I'm not going to know the difference. So whatever, it's still very nice, 32 gigs. And the only thing I still need is that stupid 3080, which is impossible to get. So someday that will be here. I'm still rocking my 1070, but otherwise everything else is built and assembled. Man, it was the most difficult time I ever had putting on a heatsink. Heatsinks are always the worst. Like every time I've built a computer in my life, which this would be the 5th time? 4th or 5th, maybe? 4, 10... 15. Yeah, this might only be the 4th. I feel like there's been maybe one more than that. But anyway, heatsink's always like the hard part, right? Or for me, at least, it's always like the most difficult part. Everything else, RAM, disk drives, GPUs, all that stuff is like Legos. But the heatsink is always scary. So for some reason on the 570 boards, when you... So the heatsink was a screw-in. And so the X570 comes with like clips near the processor, like little plastic things that you can clip onto if you get a clip heatsink. So I had to unscrew those off. Well, and yes, I will definitely take partial blame for this, but when you unscrew those off, like this, what is happening? Like the screw sockets that the screws were going into are on this like small back plate of the motherboard, like behind the motherboard. And for some reason, the back plate is like separate from the motherboard. So when I screwed those off, it fell off, it fell off from behind the motherboard and sat on my table, but I didn't hear it or see it. And so I was trying to like screw in, and again, knowing what it looks like now, I should have definitely seen like, oh, those aren't like threads, those are just holes. But I didn't, I overlooked it. And so I just kept trying to like screw in my heatsink, and it seemed really far away from my motherboard. And like, no matter how like much I pushed it down, it wouldn't like thread because there was none. And I went at this for like, I want to say a good hour, 45 minutes to an hour, like stressing out. Like, I mean, I by the time I finished it, I thought maybe I'd broken things. Like, I don't know how I didn't bend pins or break the motherboard or something. But once I realized, I kind of picked up my tower and saw the back plate. I'm like, oh, wait, why is this not just like on the motherboard? Like, it could have just been like taped on, soldered on, I don't know, like attached to it permanently, but nope, it just falls off. Anyway, I pushed that up, and then it took like 10 seconds to screw it on. It was the easiest heatsink I've ever installed, by far, once I pushed that stupid backplate up. So anyway, that was stressful. I really was like, this isn't going to boot. This is, I either like took chunks out of the motherboard, or I bent pins or something. But nope, booted just fine, running at a really nice temperature. I enabled the like XMP or whatever in BIOS to make sure my RAM is running at the proper speeds. Shout out to Steam Cloud. Like, my goodness, how easy was it to get back into Farming Simulator? I didn't lose anything because Steam Cloud just like does everything behind the scenes. So all I had to do was like install Steam, install Farming Simulator, open it up, and all of my files are there. The only thing I had to do is re-download the mods which was easy enough. I mean, that took all of 4 minutes of my day. So yeah, Steam Cloud, pretty amazing. Looks like a 3600 just popped on Walmart. Yeah, those are starting to pop up a lot, 36s and 3600Xs. Hey, it looks like I could grab it. Not going to, but it's kind of fun to see. I think I'm a little addicted to like trying to get hard to find parts. I don't know how I got this 5600 X. It popped up on Hot Stock like a month and a half ago, and I just happened to like, I guess, be fast enough, and it arrived last week, and I will count my blessings. But unfortunately, that's not working with the 3080 because every time I click, it's out of stock. Like I'll click, I was on my phone one night and the hot stock alert came up. Like I was already on it. I clicked it immediately, didn't have to log in, didn't have to, read my finger, and it was already out of stock. So, I'll keep trying. I'm going to put Cyberpunk aside anyway, I think. I played a couple hours this weekend. Basically got to... I feel like I'm going really slow. There we go. I think I had it down or something. Yeah, I had it down. Played a few... Not a couple, a few. I played a few hours this weekend. And it's fun enough, but they've already announced that they're going to do 2 big patches. They even said like big patches in January and February. And so I'm like, I don't want to do this again where I play the game right away and then it turns out to be like the substandard version of the game when I could just wait till like March or something. By then maybe I'll have a 3080, so I'll even be able to run it with better graphics. It'll be like maybe optimized a bit. Maybe it'll be like the best version of the game. So I'm like, I have no hurry. I've waited years. I can wait months. So I'm going to set Cyberpunk aside. I'm, let's see, what should we do? Do we need to fertilize maybe? Let's get it ready to go. I know I missed some weeds in the field, but I don't care. We'll be fine. We'll still get plenty of yield in the field. Hopefully we have enough fertilizer in the fertilizer. Now, are we ready to fertilize now, or do we gotta let it grow a bit? Looks like we need to let it grow. Cool, that was easy. But yeah, I did that with Witcher 3. Or I played it like right away, and now Witcher 3 still is like my number 2 game of all time. Earthbound number 1, Witcher 3 number 2. Fell in love with it, but then after I was like finished with it, like I put in, I think I played like 140 hours for my first playthrough. Like I did everything I could do because I just loved it. Then all of a sudden they had updates where they like fixed the inventory so it was easier to manage. And they actually like showed you which books you've read and just little things like that, like quality of life stuff where it's like, oh, that would have been nice. Oh, and they fixed the movement. They had that weird movement. What was it like? I hit B. No, I'm hitting V. Whoops. And they still had the old movement in there as an option if you want to try it, but it like you would like circle around instead of just like turn around, I think is what it was, something like that. So the movement was just like a little outdated and weird. Of course, I've played it since. Like I've played that game a lot, but yeah, just stuff like that is kind of frustrating when you are like the first to play it because you're so excited, and then it's like, oh, if I would have waited 2 months, it would have been a better version. So we'll just do that with Cyberpunk. I'll just wait. So I'm swapping with a friend. I am going to lend him Paper Mario, which again, loved, and he is going to lend me Pikmin 3, which I've never played a Pikmin before. So I played the demo and loved it. The demo's on Switch, and then yeah, I'm excited to sink my teeth into that one. Just a nice, charming game, kind of like Paper Mario was. So I will do that next, and then see what's on the horizon. I know I think Control's on Xbox Game Pass. I really want to get through that one once I get my new graphics card, if I ever do. But yeah, that's really been my life. I'm reading The Shining for the second time in my life. I read it, oh gosh, probably like in junior high, I bet. So not to date me too much, but that was 20 years ago. So I probably have not read that book for 20 years, and it is just really fantastic. Like, it is a really good example of like old school King. It's just great. Like, like no wasted words. Just really tonally what you're looking for in a King novel. So it's been fun to go back. I've read most of Stephen King's. I think I've read over 50 by now Stephen King books. There's still a few out there I need to excuse me, either read or retry to read. There's been a couple where I've set down. I know From a Buick 8 was one that I could not. It's not even a longer one, it's like a shorter one, but I just was so bored out of my mind with From a Buick 8, but usually I love them. Yeah. Well, there's your update on me. I just thought this episode would be just kind of one where we actually just take care of our field without hiring a worker. I could talk about things since there's only one episode this week. I guess I had some to talk about. So we'll finish this, and then we should mow. Or no? Or we could just let this grow and harvest it. Or we can just let the time go like this. We can mow and then harvest it later, which is probably what we'll do, because we just make so much money mowing, we might as well. So let's go get the mower set up. Someday this land will be ours, but not yet. Oh. We'll get this out of our way. Oh, this is the first AMD processor I've ever used. I've always gone Intel, but I thought, let's try it. So, I'm still not going to do the AMD video card yet. I'm not ready to be that risky with my history of that, but I'm looking forward to seeing what the Ryzen can do. Mower. So I have it set up so we can just drive in, get the front, I thought. Yep. And then we just have to back it up a little. I think I need to adjust. What setting was it? It did the tires steering sensitivity? Is that what it is? Let's see. Yeah, that's what I want. Okay. So we'll start about right there. We can probably get closer to the edge. Do ourselves another mow. Well, that's all I got, ladies and gentlemen. I will now spend the next half hour just mowing grass. So I will do that off camera. Hopefully this episode wasn't too bad, just listening to nothing useful. But that will be our day of farming. And next time we will have this mowed up, and I'll probably wait to windrow until next time on camera. I won't skip all of this process, but we'll get a nice jump forward on it. So as always, thanks so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed the episode. Like, subscribe, comment below, of course, if you want. And as always, have yourselves a very nice day.